friends, today we're going to be talking about happiness and positivity and things being good. I've gone through a lot of changes this year, including the fact that I'm just over 8 months clean of self-harm, and my previous record was like half of that. I've been dating a guy for a month, and he's one of the more positive influences I've ever had on my life. And my entire friend group is relearning how to be friends and not just therapists for each other, which is a really nice transition. And you might be sitting there wondering, okay, all these things are great, what the hell do you even have to talk about? And that's the thing. I can genuinely say everything is great, which is a weird sentence to be saying after so many years of things being so much less than great. I had depression from probably the middle of 7th grade, and I know from my experience and a lot of other people's experiences, when you are mentally ill from such a young age, you don't know the difference between you and the mentally ill you, because that's the only you that you know. So you start to feel like that is just your personality, that's who you're destined to be for the rest of your life. A rather grim and sometimes unmotivated and just overall not a happy person. You think that that's you. You don't think that that's your mental illness. You think that that is what encompasses you as a human being. But the reality is that it's not. And you might feel like you're defined by tragedy, which I felt like for so many years, but tragedy strikes a final chord, and once it does, you don't quite know where to go from there. As a poet especially, when I started feeling better towards spring of this year, I was like, what do I do now? I'm not sad enough to write poetry. And in terms of poetry and creativity, a lot of that comes from times of either complete distress or euphoria. So when I was beginning to feel happy again, it really felt like euphoria and I was able to write some happy poems. But now things have mellowed out and things just feel nice. And how do you write nice? But something that I'm coming to terms with is that you don't have to be able to write nice. You just have to experience it. I've been thinking a lot recently that life is good, and that sounds like such a not profound sentence. What is good is just such a basic word, but good can be such a complex word if you need it to be. Life is good is a complete sentence when for so many years it hasn't been able to be said, and I can say it unconstrained and unabashedly, so the word good can mean so much. When I think back on my life and I think like, what's my story? I have something to say for every single month, every single season of every year since pretty much the 7th grade, and because it was all defined by all these bad things. But I right now have the possibility for this year to just be defined by one ginormous umbrella of good. And obviously not everything is rainbows. I still have days where being clean is more of a tormenting thought than it is a positive thing, and even though I consider myself free from depression, it's obviously still present some days. But allowing myself to be recovered and letting myself feel emotions that aren't as complex as they used to be has been one of the most useful things for me, and it can be one of the most useful things for anyone who is getting out of a bad situation or recovering from anything. It is okay to be happy in the simplest form of the word and in the simplest way of just being content with being. And if you're still going through things, if you haven't yet reached recovery, know that there will come a time where you will be able to feel this way, and that it's daunting and doesn't feel like you will ever get out of it, but trust me, even if it takes a bunch of years, it'll happen. Preachy Nicole out of the way, it's been a while since I've made a video, so I just want to update y'all on my life. I was just Catherine in my school's production of Love's Labour's Lost, which is a very unknown Shakespeare play, but it was an incredible experience to be a part of that show, and I miss it a lot, actually. I have applied to 7 out of the 10 colleges I'm applying to. Number 8 I think I'm actually applying to today, and this is an incredibly terrifying time in my life, but I will get into at least a college, I believe. So happy news will come either in December, where I applied early to some places, or if not, then in April. So that is all from me, and in the simplest forms of the words, I hope you all have good and happy lives until I see you next time.